So hello everybody, this is Alternate Image Raid, and this is going to be a Raid Shadow Legends video. And today I am going to show you my approximately 1 minute Dragon 24 team. So let's get right into that. First I'm going to show you kind of how this team plays out. You'll see it's got Seer. The lead position doesn't really matter because it's not providing any meaningful value here, but at least it does do something into all battles. So we have Seer, we have Ninja, we have Archmage Helmet, we have Lydia the Death Siren, and we have Prince Kymar. And pretty much all of these are key to this. Ninja is somebody you can switch out if you need to. However, you're going to need somebody with really good single target boss damage if not using him. So I'm just going to start by just showing you through this video. It is really quick, the run, and so I'm going to show you how this works, talk it over a little bit, and then I'll get back to the stats and the AI for each one of these and how it's set up. You see, first, ton of buffs, and the ton of buffs get purged off in order to make Seer here do her major damage. It really does need somebody with really great buffs like that. Archmage is actually also somebody you could substitute out. You just need somebody who's bringing at least 2 to 3 additional unique buffs to the group in order to boost Seer's damage here. Now you'll see we got to the boss sub 30 seconds. This run's actually going to be a little bit slower because of the weak chance, the 3% chance of resisting any debuff. Some of those waves did resist, so we had to have one extra tick of damage on them, but it's not going to be a problem. What's nice about this is a 100% chance success rate team as I have it. It will not fail, even if the waves don't get one shot due to the not weak hits, but the resisted debuffs coming off of Lydia. You'll see here Ninja is key for killing the boss. So you need something that's going to knock the boss down really quick because this team is actually very squishy, and if it takes too long to go through it, the boss will actually kill everybody. Another round probably wouldn't have survived. Here we go. You'll see Seer did a ton of damage on those waves, and Ninja did a ton of damage on the boss. We're going to sell that. Not exceptional piece of gear there. So let's look over these champions for a minute. I'm going to organize by recently used first, which is great. So the key here, of course, is the order of things. I do have my Kymar is the fastest on my team. Here are the stats for him. He really just needs to be fast. The rest of it isn't terribly actually important. However, having decent crit rate and damage is just going to help make sure the boss goes down quickly. For masteries on Kymar, I brought him in this way, and I take him down to the War Master again for that additional boss damage. It is pretty nice. Lore of Steel, just pretty much go damage, accuracy, just make it a little bit easier to gear him. We have Lydia here. Now Lydia is just slightly slower than Kymar. She needs to definitely be going before Seer. Seer has to be the last one. You'll see her, she isn't geared specifically for this team, however, making sure that her accuracy is higher than 250, 300 or so to guarantee the drops of those debuffs, other than, of course, the 3% chance to fail. Again, for her and her masteries, I also have War Master. That chance to proc that damage is pretty helpful in making sure that the boss goes down. Now, we're going to go Archmage. His stats honestly don't matter a lot. Relatively fast. You could have yours faster, more damage. This guy just needs to be faster than Seer. He has to go first. And so he's just kind of built. Again, accuracy, but this is really just somebody I threw in there just to provide the buffs. His increased damage buffs from his skills. Also nice on the actual boss, increasing the chance of killing. So again, you have to bring somebody who's bringing several buffs. The speed is kind of a wash because she brings the speed here. However, he is getting at least 2 unique buffs to add. So we have 1, we have 2, and then we have 3 and 4. That's going to be necessary for making sure that the waves die. Ninja is actually on my clan boss team, so his stats are kind of fixed in that regard. His speed needs to stay where it is, which is why he's actually kind of too fast for this team, but it really doesn't matter. I actually just realized he's only 97% crit, which isn't excellent, but not really a big deal for the clan boss that he's on most of the time. Again, over 250 accuracy, decent speed is always good, high crit rate, crit damage, attack, just to make sure he is slaying that dragon. Now, the key to this team is this Seer. So Seer here, we need to make her slower than everybody else. She has to go last so that all those buffs are up, and then she does the damage. She technically could go before Ninja, but in this case, I'm not going to slow my Ninja down for this team. You just want as much crit rate, crit damage as possible, and again, more than 250 accuracy, so that well, generally for Seer, so that she can purge buffs off of the enemy team. But in this case, they don't ever get a turn, so that's not really necessary. You could actually build her with more damage and less accuracy in this particular instance if you wanted to maybe speed up the run just a little bit more. And so that's the stats here. Oh, and masteries on her. We're going down to the Flawless Execution. Just extra crit damage. And then I have her in Savage Set because that's just going to greatly increase her damage. She just needs to one-shot those waves or as close as possible. And people with better gear get it to where it's one-shot even without both of the debuffs landing from Lydia. So it's kind of, how to look at it that way. Now, the other important part about this, and it will fail if you don't set it up very specifically, is the AI programming for this run. I'm going to go in and show you this AI programming here. So she is going to use her A3. This is a HP based damage. This is what is going to strip all the buffs off of you and kill the enemy wave. It's going to set to use it first, and then that's it. It's not really a big deal after that. She's going to wipe the wave. It's fine. She won't get a chance to go again. You could, for safety, put it on opener and don't use. That actually might be even smarter in case the skills get reset and she actually gets a turn. We have the same thing here. I have that here, but then I have the clan banner going next just in case, the same thing happens here. And then finally, it can just go naturally on the last bit. Ninja here, I don't want him to use a Science Slash. If he freezes the enemy and he does get to go first, they have a chance, or they takes less damage. You do not want this going off on those waves, so it is at least set to not be first on those. Seer will go before that happens. I also set Shatterbolt first, and this is just a tiny little min-maxing, but his Hailburn attack actually takes longer to go through the animations, and since you don't need the damage, you want to prioritize his A1 to go first. Kymar, I do not want him to start with his A3, which resets the cooldown of all the abilities and is part of what makes this a whole team function. Is the cooldowns are reset, so she gets to go again. I will run through this again after I've shown you this to kind of give you an idea, now that you've seen it all, again, of how it's working. You don't want him to use this first. So same thing here. He will naturally use this first, so it doesn't matter if it's getting reset. It'll actually work out just fine regardless. Not really a problem at this point. And natural AI here, except I actually don't want him to use this because I'd rather him put poison damage onto the boss to help kill the boss damage better. This guy just needs to use this first, and then I put this a second. On the off chance it survives, this will then stun the enemy team and they won't get to go. Same thing here. For the buffs, stun the enemy team, they don't get to go, and then that part doesn't matter. Here we just want to make sure that she uses her Siren's Wail right away, but then I tell it to not use it again on turn 1, because the Kymar will reset her skills and she has a chance of going if weak hits happen. We don't want that to happen. We need her to use Siren's Wail here, and so on this turn I just make sure it goes first just in case the AI does anything strange, and finally at the end it doesn't actually matter. Pretty much all the AI's default on the boss. Now that you kind of got an idea of what that looks like, we're going to go back in one more time, kind of explain again how this works. So any damage, buffs and debuffs, buffs, strips, damage. And now we'll see how some of those programmings happen to make sure. This is actually a great example of kind of worst case scenario. None of the buffs went down here, but because of the programming, nothing's going to get used as not supposed to. Here we're already set for the reset. So debuffs, buffs, strip, and we go. This is actually going to be a few seconds slower run. Normally we get to the boss at 19 seconds instead of like 32 seconds. But you'll see even with like a critical failure on that one mob because of the AI, because of how it's set up, it will not fail. And then it doesn't really matter on the boss here. It just goes through. Ninja's pretty important for his damage. I don't have anybody else in my roster that does a similar single target kind of burst damage to kill a boss like this. If you have somebody else, that is totally fine to use on this team. Same thing with Archmage Helmet. He isn't strictly necessary either. However, somebody who's providing 2 unique buffs and also brings some damage to the boss. So either through the masteries, through pure damage, or by the buff that he's providing. And we'll see this time actually kills Ninja. This is actually going to be the worst case scenario run. However, we will see that even in that worst case scenario run, we still kill the boss. It does take a little bit longer than normal to go. You'll see Ninja's damage a little bit down because he died. And that's the run. It is a 100% chance success rate. Dragon 24. Archmage Helmet can be switched out as long as you get somebody who brings damage and 2 unique buffs. Ninja can be switched out as long as you bring somebody who can do massive single target damage without relying on the boss to take a turn. We got here actually a pretty decent piece of loot that we will keep, and that is going to be the video. Again, Dragon 24, 100% chance success rate. It averages about a minute. It does have a no failure chance, but it can slow down to as low as a minute 30 instead if we get unlucky with our debuff drops. Again, this has been Alternate Image Raid, a spin off the Alternate Image Gaming channel. It's been a Raid Shadow Legends video. If you like the content, like, subscribe, comment. There will be guides coming up here for every dungeon. We're going to put clan boss guides. We're going to put pretty much things for every area in the game to cover. And from a perspective of somebody who has paid a little bit in this game, we consider a low spender, but like less than $100 over 2+ years. So this isn't a whale account. This isn't somebody who just has every amazing champ and every piece of gear. So you can kind of get a perspective of what are teams like for people with a realistic account. Again, Alternate Image Raid. Have a great day.